Oh. Yeah. Hello and welcome to M the Ambassador. I'm your host M, and who is this freak of nature?
This is Mr. Weird Face coming in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear
You
you.
know?
Sadly, I could hear you, yes.
Oh, excuse me.
I'm just kidding. You know we love you here at M the Ambassador.
We? Who's we? You speaking French or something? It's just you and me, brother.
I guess so. So, yes, unless I fucked up the time, unless I fucked something up, yes, you are hearing it right. We are doing a review on Inside Out 2. I wish they had a
Yeah, we saw it
subtitle.
yesterday.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday, so yeah. So, I guess just first things first, what did you think about it? We are doing a
I thought it was really good. Coming out of the theater, I felt like it was good. It was a good Inside Out sequel, but it's just not as good as the first one. That's it.
Yeah, I guess that was how I was feeling too. That was how I was genuinely feeling too. That I enjoyed what was shown. I enjoyed a lot of it, but that overall, it's a weaker movie when compared to the first one. But I do definitely think that it has not only found its audience, but I think a lot of the audience that is going to find it is going to really enjoy it.
No, I've noticed the reception for it was really good. A lot better than how people received the trailers.
Yeah, which speaking of which, I know we did a reaction to it a while back, and I will just say this about our reaction. One, I don't remember anything about it, and two,
Me neither.
so you know what? Let's refresh our memory by watching.
Are we gonna watch the
Yeah,
trailer?
we're gonna watch like the trailer. Although we might watch the different trailer than we did.
Okay.
All right, here at least just to refresh our memories on some things.
Riley, how was camp? It was good.
She goes away for 3 days and all we get is good?
She goes away for 3 days and...
Oh, wait. I think this is okay, you know what? I just realized. I was wondering what the subtitles were, and I just realized this is just like, I thought, oh, they released another trailer. I guess final trailer just meant, oh yeah, the final country to show the trailer. Indonesia. Oh shit, sorry.
Well, that's a new way to watch the trailer. There we
Oh,
go.
fuck it. We're watching this trailer just a little bit.
all we get is good?
Yeah, sounds right.
Asked and answered.
Back to the game.
Riley is officially a teenager now. You
Do have
aren't packed yet?
Screen share on, or I'm not seeing anything.
Fuck, I forgot to do the screen share. Hold on.
I mean, I guess you can watch it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, it's more just to like recap the audience on it. I am ripping off Double Toasted quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, I did mute myself, right? Because I just sneezed.
Yeah, you did.
All right, you know what? Here you go.
Well, why mute yourself if you're just gonna tell people anyway?
Overreact much?
I barely touched it.
Let the professional handle this.
I'm too gross to go anywhere ever again! Well, that's a preview of the next 10 years.
This June,
I'm Anxiety. I am just such a huge fan of yours. We're Riley's new emotions. Wow!
Remember when we all finally came up to headquarters?
Nostalgia.
That was like 30 seconds ago, nostalgia. Yeah, those were the days.
the Feel Everything movie
Pillow fight!
Bring it on!
No, anger.
arrives in cinemas.
Ooh, walkie-talkies. Check. Can you hear me? I gotta press the button. Go for Joy. Copy that. Over. Oh, I love them. Just don't look down and keep moving. She'll be okay, right?
50-50. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2.
There's a part 2? We're going!
Only in cinemas. Tickets available now.
Wow, okay, this actually was a decent, like a bit of a better trailer than I expected. Not gonna lie, just because they were kind of thinking what we were, at least what I was thinking. Really, a part 2? You money hungry bastards.
I think you started it like maybe 10 seconds. How should I say?
I mean,
I think you only showed us like you got us 10 seconds in.
Well, I mean, you guys get it, right?
At least for me.
I feel like the audience got that. Wow, this is going amazingly. Swimmingly,
Oh, okay.
even.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Listen, all I'm just saying is our audience of 0 viewers, which, goddamn, that sucks. We got 0 fucking viewers, but whatever. I'm not bitter about it. See, look, I'm happy.
Yeah, you look happy to me.
Oh, yeah, right. So where are we going with this? I legitimately have kind of lost track. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So,
Would you say you lost your train of thought? Huh?
I don't think there was
Reference
a
to
train.
the first movie. It's a
Well,
reference to the first movie.
Well, I don't remember the first movie that much. So, yeah, so I don't know what to say other than I think we kind of gave our opinion already, which was just that was a great movie, like a good movie and a great sequel, or a great sequel, but just a good enough movie.
Yeah, I would say so too. And honestly, even just as a movie on its own, I would say it is pretty good.
Yeah, like it's not
It's
like
good.
a begrudging goodness, like let's say Finding Dory 2, where it could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse, so people kind of like it on that front. Although, let's be real, like one of the stars of it doesn't exactly seem like a good choice at this moment.
Yeah.
If you don't get that joke, you
Oh,
probably
I got
shouldn't be
it.
watching
I
it.
got
I just mean in general. If you don't get that joke, you might not be wanting to watch our shit. So keep that in mind.
All right. Well, with that in mind, I guess that ends this call. Thanks for having me on board. I'll see myself out.
Wow, you know what? Maybe you were right. Maybe we should have done like this stream with our initial reactions.
Yeah, it was late. I wanted to watch Toonami.
Yeah, you were Toonami watching it.
Got held up watching the moon get blown up in Dragon Ball twice.
Oh yeah, that. Okay, so if you're wondering about that, right? Mr. Weirdface has started recently watching Dragon Ball Z Kai, and
Because of Toonami.
because it was on Toonami, yes. And we got to that point where they got to that point where the moon got blown. Well, okay, we're already at like the Saiyan saga, like towards the end of the Saiyan saga, if I would be correct, when Vegeta turns into the giant ape, the giant ape monster. I'm not great with names, so keep that in mind.
Wait, so it's near the end of that saga?
Well, I mean, not to spoil it, but we just gotta wait till well, I don't want to spoil it fully, but yeah, it is getting close to the end of that saga. Fuck. Thing is, I just don't remember the episode. That's it. Like what the episode's name was. So So they already know that the moon gets blown up by Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I heard it. You were about to say Zed.
Well, either way, right? So, but, I don't know if they seen the original Dragon Ball, which I don't think they did. Have you?
Nope.
Well, in the original Dragon Ball, the moon was blown up by Master Roshi to stop Goku from doing his rampage in the stadium. He did it while he was disguised as Jackie Chun. And all Mr. Weirdface's reaction to that was, so you're telling me the moon has been blown up twice in this universe? And I haven't seen Super, so for all I know, they blow up the moon 4 more times, more than I know. Like, maybe I should just even look it up. Like, how many times in the Dragon Ball universe has the moon been blown up? Which I gotta say, it's a lot more devious than Despicable Me's whole conceit of, like, I'm going to steal the moon. Piccolo and Roshi, we're just gonna blow that shit up.
Listen, and I kind of feel like you lose the oomph the first time you blow up the moon. If you end up making a new one after that, it's like,
Yeah.
is it that big of a deal?
I mean, it should be a big deal, but kind of isn't. So you're right.
I guess for the characters it's a big deal because now the Saiyans. Oh well, no, Vegeta. He just made his own moon.
Yeah, exactly. He just made his own moon to turn into the giant ape monster. Do you think it says a little bit about who does it say more about, the movie or us, that we're on giant apes and moon blowing up? Because here's the thing, we had a lot to say. I remember we had a lot to say. And I'll be honest, I probably should have taken better notes than just great sequel, good movie.
You know what? I'll take responsibility for it. I feel like I derailed the conversation.
I mean, what's a live stream about if not derailing conversations?
The topics that's in the title.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? We'll figure this out soon. Okay, so I guess the first thing is, what I found impressive about Inside Out 2 was, when I say great sequel, it's one of those sequels that actually expands upon the universe and the characters, rather than just rehash the first movie or betray a lot of the potential. Like, I think of bad sequels. I think of, I'll be honest, I guess just for laziness, a lot of the Pixar sequels, like, let's take The Incredibles 2. I've never seen The Incredibles 2. Have you?
Oh, no, I did.
Okay, would you say that's one of those movies that kind of squanders the potential, or ruins the, or doesn't expand on the universe? Or does it somehow do both?
I felt like it was a very weak sequel, and not the best movie, honestly. I especially when compared to the first.
All I know is the motivation of the villain, which is, if I'm correct, I want to kill superheroes because they didn't do their jobs.
It was more dumb and complicated than that. It was her father was so
straw man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Her father was so reliant on superheroes that after they were outlawed, someone broke into their house, and the father, he was waiting for superheroes to come save them, if I remember correctly.
Did Bob or Helen ever just go, "Your dad was just a fucking idiot. It's not our damn fault. Your father is a fucking moron"? But a lot more angry.
Really, not that I can remember. Listen, I only saw it once because I only wanted to see it once.
Well, I mean, isn't that a bitch and a half, ain't it, huh? Oh, hey, you know that thing that happened, right? We literally lost our ability to use our abilities in a legal way and help people. Well, fuck you. Sucks to be you.
Now, at least to be fair, my memory could be wrong on that. It could just be he was relying on superheroes to come save them, but they didn't come, and the villain blames superheroes for making him so dependent on them. It's kind of like that one episode of Powerpuff Girls. But funny thing is, the Powerpuff Girls did it better. They were showing how reliant the townspeople were on them.
Oh, yeah,
but it actually showed...
It wasn't the mayor like, Giles, can you open this jar of pickles?
Or one scene I love is, now, why shouldn't you take a toaster to the bath with you? Because your toast will get soggy.
Hold on, I'm actually gonna look it up.
I guess maybe the villain and her family are from Townsville.
Honestly, that's how they sound, honestly. From what I've heard. Also, here's what I found. Oh fuck, sorry.
Why shouldn't you put a toaster in a bathtub full of water?
Because your toast would get soggy.
Also, I don't... Okay, to be fair, I didn't... Hold on, wait. Hold on, let me look up something. Well, yeah, you know what? You don't need to see that. I made my point.
I can't see anything here. For all I know, you are showing the audience furry porn.
Hey! I would only do that once, and that's to nuke the channel. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. Listen, all I'm just saying is, like, you know how people are kind of like, why do supervillains need all those screens, right? I'm working with two monitors, right? You ever seen supervillains where it's like, yeah, like 15 screens?
Yeah. But is it more economical?
Well, listen, I just have the two monitors set up, okay?
Uh-huh.
So let me see here. I have Streamlabs. I got... Well, actually, now that I think about it, I really don't need, like, YouTube on here because I already did my job. Really don't need this, like, up... Well, actually, no, wait. If I minimize it, then I can't do my little motions. Let's see here. Let me get rid of my tax manager, my file... You know, the more we talk, the more it makes it just seem like the movie was so boring we can't keep on topic. When in reality, I have ADHD. I don't know what your excuse is.
I don't know either.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, so yeah, when I said that it was really good at expanding on the story of the first, well, the story and the themes of the first one, is that it actually thinks, okay, what are the emotions people go through during puberty? And the big ones are, you know, anxiety. The big one and the main antagonist in the movie is anxiety. You also get embarrassment and ennui and envy.
Yeah. And I know people, when the trailers first came up, they were confused because, well, isn't anxiety the same thing as fear?
But I think they gave it a perfectly good explanation, even in the trailers. Fear or anxiety is fear about stuff that's going to happen in the future, where fear is just kind of what happens in the now. Now, yes, there is a nitpick you could have where it's like later on in the movie, but that's more in spoiler territories.
Yeah, not really. I'm pretty sure they showed it. You're talking about the parachute scene, right?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. Well, I mean, if it's not
yeah.
a spoiler.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had it in the trailers.
Well, okay.
And you can even argue the part where, again, in the trailers, um, you're directing Riley to put the mouth guard on. Again, it's not like she was in danger right then, or there was even something that prompted her to put the mouth guard in. It really was just you got to be prepared for the future. So yeah, I could see where people were getting that confusion of what anxiety and fear are. I guess the best way to kind of differentiate them is that perhaps fear is reactive, that something in the past encouraged that fear to sprout, so he gets prepared for that in the future, whereas with anxiety, she makes up scenarios to be afraid about, even if there's no prior evidence that is something to be afraid of.
Yeah, I guess anxiety is more proactive while fear is reactive. And by the way, sorry, I didn't hear a lot of what you said. You don't need to repeat it because I'll probably. Sorry.
Well, just for your own benefit, it's not that fear isn't even proactive. Again, putting in the mouth guard, wearing a parachute, that is being proactive for future calamities. But it's more just, it's possible that he knows to fear that because of something that might have happened in the past. So he's working off of that information. Whereas anxiety, she makes up scenarios that might not have any basis.
Damn, having anxiety is just making up a guy to get mad at or to be afraid of.
Yep. Basically, and actually a big part of the movie is her doing that, and making up stuff and scenarios that, again, there's no proof that they will happen or that they have happened. However, it's still something to be afraid of.
Yeah. I think that shit crazy. And yet...
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of was afraid that, like, I hate to admit it, but... Like, I hate... Like, making a movie already about emotions, you're gonna win over a lot of audiences because they are gonna be very much... Oh, I can relate to this. I can relate to this. So they may overlook a lot of the
Never feel like... Do you think Inside Out and Inside Out 2 are only big because it's our own emotions reacting to being represented by the emotions, and so they automatically have a representation bias?
Maybe, but hey, listen. If I had an active fear, see, you know, like, let's just take some stupid shit I was gonna do. For example, I was gonna take some melatonin gummies because I wanted to see what would happen. Who will win, the melatonin or my will to review this movie? But see, now I have anxiety of like, yeah, but what if I accidentally fucking hit my head on the keyboard and bleed out to death?
Okay, now here's the thing. Has that happened before?
No. I mean, I've fallen asleep at the keyboard.
Well, that is anxiety.
Like, listen, I have fallen asleep.
See, you're scared of.
But I have never hit my head on the I've never hit my head on the desktop or the keyboard before.
And there's the distinction. You're scared of falling asleep at the keyboard. That's fear. However, you're making up a scenario where you're going to bleed to death. That's anxiety.
Yeah, see? It's deep, man. And you know what? I kind of agree with like a review we saw by Sarcastic Chorus, where
Sarcastic Saurus. Sounds like his dinosaur
persona,
alter ego.
Scale Sona. Right, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, where he did say it was a lot more mature, but not as entertaining, or something.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think something to that agree, and I kind of see what he means, right? because I really liked the first one when it came out. It wasn't my favorite Pixar film, but of all of them, that was definitely one I found very entertaining. Now, I think the most entertaining one I have seen so far, at least one I really like, and I will admit some bias there, is Coco. Now, my favorite one growing up was The Incredibles, so keep that in mind when I'm talking.
Is that why you didn't see Incredibles 2? You didn't want it ruined for you.
Well, I actually have a very simple answer to that. I was busy.
Yeah, makes sense. Going back to Inside Out 2, one thing that kind of stuck with me when we were talking about it yesterday was that you said it was good, but it was just missing that one little something that would have made it great, like on par with the original.
Yeah, and I think that was where I was stumped for the longest time. Until until we watched those reviews, and I felt like they vocalized something we were feeling. Which
was?
Hold on. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of pausing. I'm actually yawning a lot. I'm not super tired. More like just, I don't know, just a little tired.
A melatonin gummies won, even out of your imagination.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't even take one. I didn't even take like a teaspoon. Only a spoonful.
They're in your room, and that's enough to influence you.
All I did was smell them because they have a really distinct strawberry smell.
There you go.
Yeah,
you got secondhand melatonin.
Secondhand melatonin. Ban this shit in restaurant. Well, to be fair though, why would you take melatonin at a restaurant unless you're like a fucking idiot? Like me!
To speed up the itis. Some foods gotta get some help from melatonin.
Yeah. Man, Fred.
Yeah, Inside Out 2 was boring, wasn't it?
Hell yeah, you know what?
Yeah, just kidding.
Well, yeah, no, I was actually joking too. Like, unironically, I was just helping with the bit. But anyway, right? Like, I did enjoy Inside Out 2. It's just I didn't enjoy it on the same level I did the first Inside Out, or a lot of Pixar's great movies. I'll even say this. Well, no, I did think actually it was better than Monsters University. Like, I guess that's it. I kind of find it on par with maybe like at least in the same range as Monsters Inc., believe it or not. Where it's not the best of the Pixar movies, but it's definitely up there. Like, let's say the lowest is like Cars 2, where I would rank it kind of at a 4. Or like a Rental, right? Because I do think there is enjoyment to be had in that movie. I would genuinely put...
I liked watching it as a kid.
Oh, shit.
Go on.
Either way, right? I find at least both Monsters, Inc. and this, like, around a high matinee. Which, once again, that's my lowest... Which I would say is pretty good praise. And if you're wondering where the first Cars would go, it would honestly just be a pure... kind of a low matinee, bordering on a Rental, not gonna lie.
Personally, for me, I would say, for the first Cars, if you had nothing to do when it came out in 2006?
Yeah, like, let's be real. If NASCAR wasn't showing, if the Golf Channel seemed particularly boring.
If you're on a discount day and it's not,
yeah,
and you're going like in the middle of the day, then yeah, I would recommend it.
Honestly, maybe that's one way we can differentiate ourselves from Double Toasted. Like, just, hey, catch it on a discount day. Don't discount this movie.
But as far as Inside Out 2, the actual movie we're reviewing, I would say that I'm glad we went to see it in theaters. I think it was a good investment in time and money.
And it did help you with your Cinemark stock.
Yes, I was so happy to see so many people there waiting in line. We barely got to the house before we did not see any trailers. We missed out on the whole come see it in Cinemark, whatever they were doing. Right when we sat down was right when the movie started, and it was great.
Honestly, that did feel kind of cool, actually. That it felt like we were like main characters. Yes. It made me feel like a main character because it was like the movie was starting when I came in, when I started walking in.
My stock's up to $19.
And you said
keep it up, come on.
How would you feel if this? How would you feel if it turned out that really was a stock that like this Wall Street was planning on pumping, but then we cracked the code and it's like shit. All I'm just saying is maybe plant the seed a little bit, maybe plant some seeds in Wall Street bets.
Oh, keep pumping it at least up to $24. I want to make my money back.
Yeah. Do you even want a profit, or do you just want your money back?
I just want my money back. You know what? I played the investing game. I lost. I just want what I put back in, okay?
Hey, at least you can get a steak dinner at fuck, you know what? No, I don't want to give them any business. Not that I hate them or anything. I actually quite like the place. It's just I don't think they deserve my shout out. Unless you want to whore yourself out for $24.
Didn't I just do that with Cinemark?
Well, yes. We are really off topic this damn stream.
Next time, take your medication.
Well, I mean, I don't know how that will affect my sleep, ironically enough. But, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, where were we going?
Next time, I'll take your medication.
Maybe. Yeah, okay. That's fair. So, where were we doing with this? Right, okay, so yeah, like I said, I enjoy... I guess the big thing for us was steaks. And I ain't talking, like, sirloin. I mean, like, the steaks of the movie, right? Because let's take the stakes of the first movie, which it's someone leaving their home state and hometown in Minnesota, going all the way to San Diego, California. Or was it San Francisco?
San Francisco.
San Fran, California. Having to adapt to living in a smaller house. Having to... pretty much have to adapt to all this change that has occurred, and literally because of them bottling up their actually suppressing their sadness about it, they then think, I'm gonna run away on a bus/train to Minnesota, which I mean that's pretty big stakes versus. And I don't want to diminish, like, how stakes can feel personally, but, like, versus, what if I don't make this team? And yes, I do know in the movie that the reason why is because she lost. Her friends aren't going to go to the same high school, and she sees, oh, if I'm part of this team, I could, this hockey team, I could then be friends with, I could then have friends. But still, like, it's still, it's like one has pretty high stakes, and the other one's just kind of like, okay, those are the stakes. Hey, buddy, you good there?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. But yeah. I think more of just what should I say? Kind of what you were talking about, steaks. Got me hungry, so I went to get ice cream. But anyway, where was I? Okay, sorry. Mine went blank for a bit, but anyway. It is just near the end of the movie. Reaching the climax. It doesn't really feel like Riley is going to be losing much. At least that's what it feels like at least for us.
Right, which I guess it could have been one of those things where the movie could have made those stakes a little higher. Like, feel higher, right? Because I don't need Riley to fucking run away again or decide, that's it, if I'm not going to be in this hockey team. Takes her Kimetsu Hakbuku or whatever. Pretty much uses her rollerblade to, or her roller, or her ice skates to commit Boku. Which I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly.
Me neither. If my mouth wasn't full of ice cream, I would have stopped you right there.
That feels like an Adventure Time quote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jake, why did you stop me from making an ass of myself? My mouth was full of ice cream.
My mouth was.
I was too busy eating ice cream, Finn. Jake, I look like a big jackass in front of everyone. Well,
it builds character.
Finn smacks the bowl of ice cream from Jake's hands.
Ice cream!
I thought it built character. Hey, your character needed building.
I've already got enough character.
Well, sorry, now it just reminds me of that one Kif scene you showed me where it's like, I'm up to my ears in character.
I'm up to my ears.
God, okay, so yeah, honestly, that was the big thing I didn't like too much about this movie, right? And you could even argue, well, it's realistic because she's getting that anxiety, and anxiety is pushing her further and further. But I mean, as, you know, someone watching the movie, though, it's kind of like, this bitch has no real problems.
Say that. It's just when compared to the first one, it just pales in comparison. Listen, I understand what the movie was going for. And I would say that Riley's social life in high school, again, they make it feel like it's a big deal for her, but for the audience, at least for us too, maybe we're too cynical for it, but it really doesn't feel that big of a deal. One thing I kind of thought of after watching the movie was, what if instead of feeling like she wasn't good enough instead of it just feeling like she wasn't good enough to have friends in high school, she just gave up on her aspirations, like her aspirations to be a hockey player. She gives up on her ambitions for certain careers, stuff like that. Like, this moment was so big for
someone. You know, I probably should shut the hell my mouth sometimes, especially because it's a child. I gotta remember when I say shit like, she decides to become bitchless. But then again, we were headcanon her as gay. Which I know is totally different, but that's beside the point. Mr. Ice Cream.
Listen, we weren't the only ones.
Yeah. In fact, weren't you okay? This is a little bit of a spoiler, but weren't you disappointed that the big dark secret wasn't that she was a homosexual?
Listen,
lesbian?
I'm just saying. 1, they made it a big deal. 2, they kept it at the end. I was going to say 3, it's Pride Month.
Happy Pride
if there
Month,
was
everyone.
a time, yeah.
You know what? And be happy that we kind of almost have all the colors.
Yeah, almost.
Oh yeah, I mean we almost have the colors. So you know what? Happy Pride Month, everyone! From M the Ambassador. I don't know much about this guy here.
I know someone would say, well, there's no context for that in the movie itself. We even see a Mount Rushmore of crushes, and there's no chick there.
Denial.
At least none that I saw.
She is the denial.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, would you listen? Okay, here's my take on it, though. I don't care. I'm just kidding. Okay, listen, it's a joke at the end of the day. But, I mean, it would be funny. That's it. Plus, maybe it's just one of those things where it's like, we say lesbian, but that really means bisexual. Bisexual lesbians.
Yeah, no, listen, it would make sense she's bisexual. Again, most of the crushes we see, they are for male characters.
But, I mean, her big, let's be real, and I know someone to say, you friendless bastard, she just wants a friend. And I ain't saying that lesbians can't have friends. But come on. She was kind of a little too anxious to impress. Not the way you'd impress someone. Or maybe I'm just too cool. Which is why I'm doing live streaming.
Yep. And this live stream is showing just how cool we are.
Yeah. I mean, you're eating, I'm drinking, you know, we're committing some sins here. Although I'm drinking water, so I don't know what sin you're committing other than gluttony. And maybe envy. Speaking of which...
Why envy?
Well, okay, to be fair, it was meant to transition into... I know, like, a lot of people really didn't care much for Envy, but I thought she was adorable. In the sense of, it's funny how she, like, is envious. It's not the envy of, like, fuck you. More like, fuck, I wish I was you.
Mm-hmm. And I know my criticism with other people's criticism is when they said she really didn't do much as a character. And I thought, no, she did a good job really pumping anxiety up. I think she was a good wingman. But then someone pointed out that she's not a very good job at what's it called? Embodying the emotion she's supposed to be.
I guess that's like a fair criticism. Just because I think as a character she's great. She's just not like I think we threw this around a little bit, but with the stakes and everything, does that sort of feel like the beginning of a series more than anything else? Like a Kim Possible or I guess Wizards of Waverly Place, because I think that started when Alex started high school and ended when she left high school.
That I remember. But it sounds about right for Disney.
Honestly, I think we actually also had another apt comparison where we kind of said this feels like a Disney Channel movie, but with a twist. Like a genuinely big twist.
Again, I kind of felt like that was true for the first one as well. Where it is just, if you were just seeing it from Riley's point of view, it just feels like, watching a movie about a character adjust to new stages of their life, and that's it.
Right. Which I think that worked, for the first one a lot, and this one too. It's just, and I think we kind of kept hammering it in, which is why I think, on the one hand, I am a little happy we're not doing, like, just the night after review of it. But I think we kept kind of saying like the stakes really were kind of low, and thus my emotional reaction to it was kind of okay. Oh no.
And that's really what made me think of the Disney Channel original movies. That the first one, it has large stakes, and when I say stakes, I mean like at the climax of the first one, Riley decides to run away, which is a big deal. Versus this one where she becomes very mean. She's mean to her friends and to the other players. And while that is bad, it doesn't hit that same emotional chord as her running away. Which is the same feeling you get with even just theatrical movies or straight to video movies, where it's you have big stakes for the story, but not as big as what the original had.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like if they made it more like she was gonna give up on everything she wanted to do in life, I think then that would have at least upped those stakes.
Plus, I hate to admit it, but it does kind of ring a little true sometimes, where if you fuck up enough times, I know some people really will be like, that's it, I'm done with life, I'm done with all this bullshit. Fuck this.
Especially with
teenagers.
Especially with how they sort of set up almost Riley's own expectations for herself with how Joy sent back like all the memories of her failing. Right. And again, that may seem like a retread of the first movie, but again, it's more of an expansion of it, where though Joy accepts negative emotions now, she still does not see the full value that, as strange as this sounds, negativity can bring to you. It's at the end of the movie, sorry for the spoiler, at the end of the movie, again, she doesn't relearn her lesson from the first movie. She learns a deeper lesson.
Right, like it's just... Listen, I think the way she saw it was, yeah, like in the first movie she saw negative emotions can be good because it can make her a good person. And that's kind of what they keep trying to build up. It's like, listen, we put this in the back because, well, we don't want her to be like a bad person, a negative person. So we send all the negative thoughts into the back. But the reality is, it's just more like, well, and I think that's kind of where I think it decently parallels with anxiety, where anxiety just viewed it like, well, we need to make her a more complex character, someone who can actually, deal with the reality that she's going to have to deal with.
Which, funny enough, despite how anxiety was talking about how Riley needs to be more complex, her goals are very simple. It really is just become a Firehawk.
Right, which Firehawk is the hockey team from like the movie, by the way. If you're, well, I think at this point, if you're watching this for spoiler free, you're kind of, well, one, how the fuck did you get here? No, seriously, how the fuck did you get here?
Hey, you never know.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm too pessimistic about this stream.
It's your anxiety taking hold. Again.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll tell you, our emotions, they react well to this movie because they like seeing themselves represented.
Representation matters, y'all.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Speaking of which, you said you were able to really relate to this movie because of your own issues with anxiety, right?
Right, but here's the thing, though. There are plenty of movies about people's anxieties and shit. Like, let's take Velma, for example. She's an anxious bitch, but she's also a bitch. A fucking cunt. And I hate her. and I want her to die, which actually she does in the second season. I only found that out due to Twitter. And before anyone says anything, no, I didn't get my opinions on Velma from Twitter. Okay, I actually gave it a chance. I hated it. I hate it.
I saw the first season only. I see people's criticisms, and really I didn't want to watch the second one. But as far as like a mini review for that, it's just if you like the first episode, you'll like it. That's it. If you don't, you won't. That's what I'm gonna say.
Too. I know some people would say, well, of course. Well, I mean, only the wokies would like that. But didn't you work with like fairly conservative people who actually said that shit when the roaches were fucking each other? Funniest shit I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Which if you know,
so yeah, there's an audience.
People who find roach sex funny. It'd be funny if someone said,
yes.
"Well, I love roach sex, and I didn't find it particularly great." Good day.
We said people who find it funny, not who get off to it.
Exactly. Fucking Kafka. Motherfucker would look up Kafka-esque on Pornhub. And we're making up a guy to get mad at. Except here's the thing, though. That probably exists in life. I hate the idea that he exists.
Sounds like some projection.
I do not look up Kafka-esque on Pornhub. Then you just do the
That
whole
thing. Something tells me you would get a lot of office worker stuff. Is Kafka just me? Yeah, it doesn't just mean about roaches. It means like being stuck in bureaucracy. And you know what? I've been on enough websites to know that people find office workers sexy.
So imagine if
especially
someone finally decided to actually look into this, like, oh wow, this guy's reviewing it. I wonder what their take is, and then you just hear roach sex.
Office workers are sexy.
Roach sex. We just keep repeating that for 5 minutes. I feel like that would be more entertaining.
I mean, you can.
I feel like that would be a little more entertaining than our review so far.
At least it'll be about something.
Yeah, as opposed to kind of meandering upon the topic, right? Which, speaking of meandering, I'll be honest, I kind of hated... I kind of had to agree with a lot of the criticisms that the other emotions were just kind of there. If anything, they could have... Or at least discussed was just kind of there. If anything, they could have just had... Honestly, I would have found it funny if they just, like, barricaded her in her room with broccoli. She's like...
Okay, wow. Listen, my problem is the 3 emotions that came with joy. They got little parts to shine. And now that I think about it, I did discuss with that video game character.
Oh yeah, actually, never mind. She actually motivated that character to help them. So you know what? She did play a role. I guess maybe the reason why people felt like that way was because it just felt like a very small role to play.
Maybe. I guess it could feel like, well, you just have these characters doing stuff so that they can do stuff. It's not like you needed them to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the closest that gets to a bit more than just doing something might be anger.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. Honestly, it would be more nitpicks than, like, any actual problems with the movie, which I guess we could go into. So why is this a good movie, good sequel, but not great like the first one?
And maybe it really is just our opinion. I guess the first thing first is just kind of a cynical view on Pixar. If that makes any sense. Because let's be real, I think it's kind of hard to get excited for a lot of new Pixar stuff coming out, you know?
Yeah.
And likewise, even if it would literally have to be something very transcendental, right? For it to very much impress people. So I think really it is kind of a movie that came out at the wrong time, but I would also say the stakes of it kind of feel like a little, ironically enough, feel a little closer to you know, how you say, something you could put straight to Disney Plus, as opposed to something like Turning Red or Luca.
Mm-hmm.
Because Luca, although very cozy, even though it's a very cozy movie, it had bigger stakes. Or at least the stakes did feel a lot more interpersonal. Turning Red, although very interpersonal in its story, did have really, like, literally monster level, like, stakes. This one, though, it has the stakes of, once again, like we said, a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah, which again, it's not like the first one didn't have that, but it really is kind of just that little something that it's missing, and that's it. And it could even just be the fact that, I was gonna say it could just be the fact that it's a sequel, but whenever I think of like a really good sequel, one that surpasses the first, I do think of Kung Fu Panda 2.
Right, but that's because, like, and you could argue it had similar stakes, although like Tai Lung, I kind of felt like...
Sorry, similar? Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you meant similar stakes as Inside Out 2, and I was like, I think a genocidal peacock looking to...
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Like, here's the thing. Tai Lung just wanted revenge. Well, they say Tai Lung only wanted was just revenge, right? And yeah, you could say it's bigger stakes, but I mean, ultimately it is leading to the destruction of a city.
Yeah, he made it clear he was going to destroy the Valley of Peace.
Right.
And then Shen, he was going to destroy, like, what was it? The entire kingdom? Something like that?
Which you could argue it's bigger stakes, but it's kind of similar. It's similar stakes emotionally, because... One, we don't know what the fuck the kingdom is. For all we know, they're a bunch of dickheads.
Well, I would actually say emotionally it does have bigger stakes because Shen is the guy that killed Poe's, pretty much his entire people.
Or I guess emotionally, what I mean by that is like, or I guess scale, right? Or like it, or I guess what I mean is like the scale of it feels similar, even though he technically had bigger stake. Like, he had bigger ambitions than Tai Lung. While we have more emotional stakes, though. And I think maybe that's it, too. Maybe it isn't just the physical stakes of it, where Riley could run away, but also just the emotional stakes of, like, what it means to run away. And, like, ultimately accepting these, what you perceive as negative emotions, you know, to... accept your new life, versus this one where, let's be real, it is just sort of like, I think of the emotional stakes, and all I kind of come back to is just she might not be able to befriend the Firehawks, which I know she kind of keeps, honestly, once again, I think we kept saying it's kind of like how, you know how anxiety built up not being able to make friends with the Firehawks as this big thing. Well, quite honestly, I feel like the movie kind of pumped it up, but I just kind of see it as, you have 4 years, and if not that, you have your entire life to make new friends. You know?
I think, well, since we're not really doing spoilers, I was trying to tiptoe around it, but, so the big stake isn't really, the outside stakes is she won't be able to make friends who will be with her in high school because her friends are going to another school. The friends she made in middle school.
Right.
That's kind of, that was the inciting incident to her dilemma. However, I feel like what the story was trying to push was the main stakes here is that anxiety built her a new sense of self that literally tells her she is not good enough. However, that is that's all it leads to, just her not feeling like she's good enough. And the most we can attach to that is she feels like she won't be good enough to be a hockey player, or to be part of this big team and make friends.
Right.
Whereas I think bigger stakes would also imply that she's giving up on all of her ambitions, like all her hockey ambitions, her career ambitions, because she'll always feel like she is not good enough.
Right.
And it stems from this one hockey camp thing. But that's something I have to infer for myself. It's something I think, oh, maybe this could happen. It really isn't something the movie points itself. And while I don't feel like a movie should always be holding your hand and spoon feeding you how you should feel, I feel like, how should I say, they could have written it in a way where that was more evident.
Yeah.
Rather than kind of making it up.
Right. And once again, I don't really think it's... Well, I think that's kind of it, too.
And
the ultimate flaw of the movie is just that. Otherwise, it's a great movie because the characters are really wonderful. And, I mean, the humor is... I'm not gonna lie, I did actually chuckle a little bit at some of the jokes. And the world is pretty creative. At least the ones they come up with, which I'll admit, not as creative as the first one, but definitely pretty damn creative.
Yep. Although personally, I feel like the first one, it was... The new locations we see were very, very interesting, while these ones, not as interesting.
Right, no, I don't disagree fully. It's just, I guess what I mean by that is just like, it was fun to see how they thought of these places, but not as interesting as the first one. I think that's just it, though. It's like, I think maybe the big thing about it is just every step it kind of takes a couple steps back, right? Or at least it takes 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Meaning it's going forward, but it's not like going like as forward as it can.
I would say it's not really taking any steps back, but it's just not going as far as it could. Like, I'm not talking about that whole seppuku shit you were talking about. No, I just mean, like, again, she just doesn't feel like she's good enough to do anything. Yeah. And it would have been nice to see how... It would have been nice to maybe see how her mind changed because of that, because that's what we saw in the first film. When she felt like parts of her life were starting to crumble, the islands that made up her personality began to crumble, and you saw how it was changing her mind. With this one, the most we get is her new sense of self echoing out, "I'm not good enough." And everyone's like, "Oh no." Which again, it is sad to hear, but it's not even that this is a teenager overblowing their emotions or anything. It's just we don't see the results of what believing she's not good enough does.
And like,
so we don't understand.
I will say it is a little funny how I described it. Like, imagine just seeing this from the outside in, and just seeing it from the outside, just like, so wait, is that the chick that decided to beat the shit out of, or like tackle a bunch of girls and kept like taking the hockey puck from her own team, had a panic attack, and now everything's okay? Or at least it's more like, imagine being one of the, like, her fellow girls, like, yeah, she checked me pretty hard, then I think she had a fucking panic attack or something.
Yeah, we really don't get to see the other girl's reaction to her. Like, maybe they're not paying attention and only her friend did.
Also, I think, honestly, what I think I said before was, one of the best scenes I remember from the movie was this one where, like, was the one with the dinner scene. And I do think it is because, well, one, it gave interesting insight to how anxiety affects the adults. And two, I mean, I feel like scenes like that really were as creative as the first one.
Yeah, and plus it was just nice to see other people's emotions. It would have been nice to see maybe the newer characters' emotions as well, because, come on, we got to see side characters' emotions in the end credits of the first movie, but this one, it felt like, again, that's what kind of makes it feel like a sequel.
Like, they didn't
that there wasn't yeah, like, they didn't do as much as the first one did.
Which was, one could just say, well, wouldn't that make it feel more like a rehash? And maybe to some degree, like, if they just did the same, like, characters again. But I mean, think about the different characters that are coming in. Unironically, it might actually give a lot more depth to that, to the captain of the Firehawks, which was a girl named Valentina or some shit like that, right?
Yeah, Val
is what they called her. Maybe he's kind of seeing, well, I guess maybe it was meant for the emotional stakes, but I kind of felt like Inside Out really works when you're kind of seeing how an interaction between these two teams of emotions go. And who knows, maybe that might be interesting to kind of see, like, someone with a more fully formed team of emotions. Like,
but not
adults. And who knows, like, maybe even finding out who her guiding, like, emotion is.
Yeah, personally, I feel like that's just more of a personal thing for us.
Maybe that's it, but I'm just saying, like, maybe just say a little bit that I feel like there's something missing, and I feel satisfied with saying the stakes weren't high enough for me. Which, once again, I ain't saying she needs to go through that Simboku shit with her roller skate or whatever. Or, sorry, her ice skate. But it is that
feeling. Go ahead.
But it just feels a little hollower. And I kind of felt like, I like this, but there was something that it needed. And once again, I can't articulate the best. And someone could say, well, then why do a review? But it's like, well, maybe because I feel like a lot of people are feeling that, especially a lot of the reviews I saw for this, after the fact. Because I don't like to, like, if I was going to do a review of a movie, I tend to not watch reviews until maybe after I watch the movie, at least to get an idea of how people are feeling.
And it does seem like more people, they have a very positive reaction to this movie, but not as positive as the first one. And I really do feel it's just because this one, it feels like it went in the right direction. It was doing what it did more than what people expected, but it just did not go far enough.
Yeah. I think that's
and the thing is, they were going in the right direction. Again, I could see where they could have gone with the whole Riley feeling like she's not good enough. However, where I try and infer and go beyond what they showed, they stopped at just, she feels like she's not good enough.
Right.
And maybe for them, that was enough to convey the emotional stakes in the movie. But maybe it is just a personal thing for me. I feel like they could have gone a little farther so that we could feel as invested in this not even hockey game, this little hockey skirmish that Riley was feeling.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt, honestly. And I think that's going to be the ultimate sin of it, is that it didn't go far enough. And once again, I make jokes about the Ice Blade Simboku or whatever, or Sudoku, whatever the fuck it's called, right? But at the same time...
Seppuku, I think it's called.
Sorry, what?
Seppuku, I think, but...
Seppuku. I skate Saboku. I mean, it's not even the point, right? But it just needed something a little further than that, right? Not this Ice Skate Saboku, just like something a little further than what we were given. And
What we were given was
great, but not
a pan. Yeah.
Was was good enough to warrant it existing. But I mean, it just existing. It's just it warrants its existence, but that's not exactly a high praise. And I would even say like it shows enough promise. Honestly, I kind of feel like that Little Red Notebook. If I were writing that little red notebook about this movie, just wasn't ready yet. Like shows a lot of potential.
I would say what it showed, it was good. But I would have I would have added just a little bit more for it to be perfect. Because right now, it's good.
Honestly,
that's it.
I guess if I kind of feel like it's a good time to start our ratings now. I would get this movie a high matinee, meaning I think you would really enjoy it. Your kids are gonna love it, in my opinion. But I just really don't see it being a part of my movie collection. I don't see it, and I don't think I feel fully justified giving it a full price. But a matinee, like had I caught it like on a lazy Sunday, yeah, it would be on a higher priority for me.
For me, I'm glad we saw it when we did. We did see it kind of in prime time. But I'm more happy we saw it in theaters. But I would have been just as happy if we just saw it on a discount day, no matter what the time. It really isn't a movie I would say, see it on opening weekend. Go now. More just, yeah, you could wait a bit if you want.
Would you say
I would say it's warranted. It warrants being seen in theaters, but you don't have to rush. And as far as like the DVD collection goes, because with the first one, I loved it so much. I wanted not just a DVD. I wanted the Blu-ray. I wanted something that I could watch anytime that I wanted, even during a blackout. And for this one, I would buy it because it's Inside Out 2. But if this was just Inside Out, or if this was a standalone movie, I wouldn't be as pressed to want to get a copy of it. That's it.
So would you say that it's like a men, or would you give your own like way of saying it? Like you would give it like you would say watch it at a discount?
Yeah. Watch it in theaters, but you don't need to rush it. If you end up missing it, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
If you end up watching it on, yeah.
Well, I mean,
really
that's kind of why I wanted to make it a little more concise, like matinee or whatever, right? To give it kind of that critic feeling of like a score.
Okay, you want to score discount price there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. If you're wondering why I don't do 10 out of 10, is because I feel like people unrealistically get pissed off at like numerical scores like that. I mean, I think even Adam kind of from YMS made it a meme. It's a 6 out of 10, which that means it's above average because a 5 should be your average. But I feel like it feels negative, weirdly enough.
It's his average.
Right. But yeah, so I would give it a high matinee, and you gave it a high discount?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's been our review. I hope you enjoyed it, and once again, whether you agree or disagree, remember to leave your comments with peace and love for each other. Thank you. Be rad to each other with peace and love. You got anything to say?
Nah, my brain has just gone blank.
Well, okay.